Good morning. I am going to start talking now because typically my computer takes like a few seconds to say that I'm live, and so I never know exactly when I go live. So I'll just start talking, and as soon as you catch up with me, I'll be rolling right along. So good morning. Welcome to day one of this 5-day challenge. So in some ways, this is really a challenge that is for me to be able to share with you some of the things that I usually just kind of have made a part of my daily life and daily process. And this involves food. I hope all of us eat daily, but I really try to focus on providing my body with a good fuel source for the activities that I like to participate in. Typically that means like one workout a day. It's not like I'm doing multiple workouts every single day. But one thing that I could always use more of is energy. And I feel like most times we think that we get our energy from caffeine. And what we actually do is we get our energy from the foods. It's like putting cardboard into a furnace. It burns really fast, but if you provide something that has more fiber and more nutrients, then you're really giving your body something that as it's burning, like you're getting a little bit more out of it. So food is fuel. I will probably repeat that like 700 times as I'm making these videos. But today, for day one, I am focusing specifically on my lazy greens. So this is my green container. This is my Portion Fix container system. I have all of them down here with me. I don't use these for food storage. I usually just use them for portion control and awareness. So I can measure anything that is in the category in my little booklet or on your food list. This is my 4-year-old 21-day fix food book, and it's still relevant, so I have it. But you basically fill this, and this is one serving of your vegetables in a day. And there's lots of different things that can go in here from, I'm going to be sharing 3 examples today of different foods that I use for my green that, and then how I kind of keep them, store them, make them last a lot longer, and try to do this. I wouldn't say I'm trying to do this all on a budget, because I do believe in some things being a little bit more quality over quantity, but most of what I do is it really does save me money in the long term, because I get a lot more use out of my vegetables. Nothing goes to waste as frequently now as it used to back when I wasn't sure how to feed myself. So, starting with my green container, the first of the 3 greens that I was going to talk about today, spinach. Oh my gosh, I eat so much spinach every single week. It's one of the things that I actually do buy most consistently is these big containers of organic spinach. I am not someone that fully subscribes to the idea that everything that I eat has to be organic. That is just absolutely my personal decision, but there are a few things that I really do think it's worthwhile to try to go organic whenever possible. And because greens are very tender and they tend to, and because I eat so much of them, I really try to make an effort to go organic with these. And so I buy these big containers, and then I usually do, like as I'm showing you with this container, have like a little bit of some paper towel in here, and I'll put this in, as I'm noticing that the leaves are starting to give off a lot of moisture, I'll put some paper towel inside, maybe even a couple layers, and I'll kind of shake it up so that the paper towel captures some of that extra moisture, and that just helps this last a little bit longer in the fridge. If I notice that it's really starting to get really kind of slimy in there, what I will also do is I'll get a big cookie sheet, I'll put some parchment paper down, and I'll lay like a layer of spinach on that parchment paper and put that in the freezer. Once it's frozen, I can bag it. I can put it into my shakes, which I'll talk about later on this week. But it makes, or you can put it in soups, you can use it in dips. I mean, it's kind of like the idea that once it's going to be thawed out, it's not going to be like fresh spinach, but there's so many things that we can incorporate more spinach into that it doesn't have to be in its raw form. It can be frozen and added in and still have all of the nutrients in it. So frozen spinach is one way that I really stretch out my spinach so that I don't throw it away. I hate throwing away spinach, but inevitably, you know, that was one of the things. If I buy one, I'd always have slimy, gross spinach I'd have to throw away. So I actually have a brand new one here. And I wanted to show you, too, visually, kind of what this looks like, is that when I'm measuring my spinach into one of my containers, you know, I pack it in. I don't mess around. I'll try to keep it G-rated if you've got kids at home. Okay, so like I could really stuff this in. So like in the idea that with cats in cardboard boxes, if it fits, it sits. If it sits, it fits. As long as I can jam it all in there, I don't even care. With the green, I don't care if I've got even a little bit more excessive amounts of vegetables, but this is what a portion of green will look like. That's all packed in. If I were to go ahead and spread this out on a plate, just because I visually want to show you what this will look like spread out on a plate after it's been packed into, remember, this size of a container. When you spread this bad boy out, that's a whole freaking plate of spinach, y'all. Like a whole thing, when packed together, fits inside this little guy. Same thing with, and I've got another container here. It's just basically me moving food from container to container. I'm probably just going to eat the spinach right after we're done making this live video anyways. And I washed my hands. So, okay, so then like packed into this container, I mean this small, when it's all packed in, fills up one of these little guys, which is what I use for some of my other meal prep stuff. So this is not a starvation program that I do, but this is one that does require me to have some things on hand that I can easily grab. And spinach is one of those things that I hardly ever cook it. I just usually eat it raw, and I love it raw. Okay, so I feel like I've touched on spinach enough. Let me move these. So the last two things I wanted to talk about are, I'm just going to adjust this, frozen broccoli and cauliflower rice. So I actually bought one of these giant bags of frozen broccoli florets. This is 2 pounds of broccoli florets. The reason why I bought this giant bag is because I have a recipe. I'm going to link it here in the group today. It is so special. It is from Milk Street, and if you are in my private community, and if you are in the gym with me in the mornings, which some of my gals are, I love Milk Street. You might see it on PBS. It's a cooking show. It's also a magazine. And during pandemic, they shared this video, this IGTV video of how to put a char on frozen broccoli. And I watched this video, and I keep going back to it. And then I've got the YouTube link. I'm going to share that in here. It's really any frozen vegetable you can take to another level flavor-wise. But it does require, I have a cast iron skillet. It does require you to have a little bit of equipment just in terms of being able to put something in and char it. So share that. That's why I buy these giant bags, is that I can make some of that charred broccoli, and it is so flippin' delicious. Even my daughter, who hates steamed broccoli, will eat the charred broccoli, and it's the simplest, like seriously simplest technique, and it's just magnifique. Okay, so frozen broccoli, and you can also do like a soup. You can add this to soups. I like to have things in my freezer that are easy to grab so that I don't have to worry about food going bad in my crisper. That's the other thing, is I usually, my crisper can turn into a little bit of a graveyard for vegetables that I buy at the store. I'm no better off than anyone else when it comes to eating all of the things that I buy. So this is how I've made it very possible to minimize my food waste and also incorporate a lot more vegetables. And lastly, cauliflower rice. What other vegetable has had a glow up like cauliflower in the last few years? So I buy some of this rice cauliflower just frozen. I don't actually usually cook with this very much. So there's a lot of people that will replace rice in like a stir fry with cauliflower rice. Personally, I use this in my shakes. Also something that's going to come a little bit later on. But I just like that you can utilize this to do a lot of different things. And I like it specifically in one thing, but this is another great option to keep in the freezer. And on a night that you don't really feel like cooking, like cooking up some of this with some other vegetables and a little bit of soy sauce, and boom, you've got yourself something that you didn't have to put a lot of time and effort into. It's just a great thing to have in the freezer. And so those are the 3 lazy greens that I keep around the house, which are my spinach, frozen broccoli, and frozen cauliflower rice. If you have any questions on them, let me know, but I'm going to post the video for the Milk Street How to Char Your Broccoli, and then I'm going to post all of the information a little bit later on this afternoon with the 3 graphics that I put together for this. So anyways, thanks so much for joining me, and if you have any feedback or questions or anything, I don't have any homework for you yet, but by the end of the day I might ask you to share some feedback or to tell me a little bit more about yourself. So keep an eye out for that. Bye.